one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, I need a motion on the work session minutes.
Motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
7 with 1 abstention.
Okay. Need a motion on the regular council meeting minutes for the 3rd of April.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, you're up.
Thank you, City Council and the guests in the chambers. We have a very special guest, very attractive guest with us this evening. Her name is Caitlin McTeer. Caitlin McTeer is recognizable because she has a crown on. Caitlin, would you come forward? This is the Tri-County Miss Alabama contestant. So let's give her a round of applause. Caitlin competed earlier this year in January. Come here. We'll let you come to the mayor's mic. Competed earlier in the Tri-County and won in the January time frame, and she will now represent the Tri-County in June at Samford University, and hopefully she'll come home with a title and she'll have a bigger crown and more jewels and all of that. So Caitlin, tell us about the event and what possessed you to do this and what's going to carry you to victory.
Okay, thank you. What an awesome introduction. Yeah. Thank you. So hello everyone. Again, my name is Caitlin McTeer and I get to represent the Tri-County area, which is Elmore, Autauga, and Montgomery County. So I get to represent you, and that's the main reason why I'm here today. Like he said, our first preliminary, this is the inaugural year of Miss Tri-County. Montgomery has not had a representative at Miss Alabama in many years. And so with us being the capital, of course we needed to have a preliminary. So I have the awesome opportunity of representing the area at Miss Alabama in June. That's the first week at Samford University. So I would love for each of you all to come out and support me if you can. But we also will be having our next Miss Tri-County in July. July the 27th is on a Friday, and so we would love each and every one of your support, whether that's monetarily. You know, we are a scholarship program. I go to the University of Alabama. I hope we don't have any Auburn fans in here. Yep. No.
Roll Tide.
Oh no. But Roll Tide. So I go to the University of Alabama, where I should graduate debt-free, and a lot of that is because of being a part of preliminaries and pageants like Miss Tri-County. So we would love as much support as possible to help fund more scholarships for girls within this area. So if any of you are interested in helping to volunteer, you can see all of our opportunities for sponsorships on our Facebook page, Miss Tri-County Pageant. Also, if you know any young girls to compete, we would love to have them. This year we're going to add on the Outstanding Teen component. So Miss America System has a little sister program called the Miss America's Outstanding Teen Organization that I had the privilege of being able to compete in for 4 years. And if I would not have gone through that organization, there's no way that I could be up here talking to you all or have the confidence to even stand at this mic right now. So if you know anyone 13 to 17, encourage them to compete. And also for the Miss Tri-County crown, that's ages 18 to 25. So if you know anybody, get them to compete. We would love any sponsorships that you have, and it is just an absolute honor to be able to represent this community.
Very good. Very good.
Roll Tide.
I can't see the guy behind you. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Kaden, we wish you great success, and thanks for representing us extremely well. Unless you have not been in Montgomery for the last little bit of time, you are not familiar with the fact that Dexter Avenue is undergoing a transformation from the top to the bottom. Well, this last Thursday, we had the next step in that whole transformation process through Montgomery Bills, which is a group, Marjam out of New York is the developer. Mark and Sarah Buller have adopted Montgomery as their home. They've put a lot of talent and resources into Lower Dexter. And we had the opportunity last Thursday to have a grand soft opening for that particular facility, and we focused on opening the Monroe side. And there's a very special history of Monroe, and we put together a few minutes, very few minutes, of that video from the grand soft opening last Thursday. So, Mike, if you've got that, if you could roll that, and then we'll have some closing comments.
I mean, I remember coming down and eating at a Subway. It was the only restaurant or the only open business on the street. And looking at the fountain and thinking, wow, why not Dexter Avenue with all the historical significance? Why is this street in this block particularly been vacant for so long?
Thanks to the mayor and city council and leadership there, they went and purchased many of those buildings, most all of them on Lower Dexter, which, as all of you know, is one of the most historic streets in America. And we have it all here in Montgomery. The good, the bad, and the ugly occurred along this area within a block of where we are right now. And today is a great day because this building here is one of several buildings that are just landmark buildings. It's really an anchor on Lower Dexter and was saved.
These take vision, they take commitment, they take the wherewithal. But we are so appreciative. This is a giant step moving in a direction that we can call ourselves that beloved community. And this is but the beginning of the stories that are going to be told over the next couple of weeks to the world to rightfully take our place where we call the capital of dreams. This is the epitome of a dream coming true.
We are all doing our part to revitalize this great downtown. We had many challenges along the way, many difficult to face. Experiencing the vestiges of segregation was a painful moment for our family. We were in the pre-renovated building, walking around in the darkness with flashlights when we first saw them, these stones. Our then 8-year-old son, Jacob, said, "I don't understand, Dad. What does this mean?" Tangible proof is vital to understanding our collective history. Sarah and I agreed that these stones must remain. Tzom Moil. May this remembrance teach us something.
Storytelling is important from personal perspectives because it allows for normal human empathy. Do you know what normal human empathy does? Normal human empathy allows for relationships to build, it allows for healing to happen, and it also allows for communities to be strengthened.
We should not be ashamed of what our history. We need to tell the story, make people cry like me and Sarah, because when you hear change is going to come, and we know the change has come already, but we still have a long ways to go.
We found it very interesting that this building bridged two major enterprise zones that were segregated. And we felt like this was a natural bridge to connect two streets and two communities.
What I saw was a stone with two words. And yesterday it was meant to divide. Today, it's standing side by side.
That was a powerful moment. So many people played a great role. One of the speakers you saw was Mark Buller, who quoted the Jewish statement. Mark and Sarah have viewed this as a labor of love, a labor of telling the historical fact, but more importantly, telling the story of a future. And Dexter Avenue represents our future. And we're so appreciative of all that has happened, all that is going to happen, and all that will be putting Montgomery forward to achieve the best that she can be. The City Council, Mac McLeod, who's our now Chief of Staff, Development Director doing this, have worked tirelessly to make sure that we continue a great tradition of Montgomery. And as we look to the future, that we can have a future where we can go united, arm in arm, so that we can become the best that we can be. So with that, Mr. President, I yield to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Great story. Mr. Bell?
Mr. Mayor, I want to give you a compliment. You know, sometimes it seems that I don't want to set you up one of your worst critics sometimes, but, you know, I like to say thank you for what you're doing. Now, the bad part. We, the City Council, have duties, and I'm not speaking on behalf of any City Council, I'm speaking on behalf of Fred Bell. There are two terms I learned. One is abrogating, the other one abdicate. Each of us on the City Council and us collectively have the authority to do certain things. And one of the things, and I won't be long, I'm mindful of the time, one of the things that we have is to inquire into the affairs of the city. Abrogate is when someone else takes your power from you, your authority. Abdicate is when you just give it up. I'm cognizant of the decorum we should have here, so I don't speak to any particular council person. I don't know if we've abrogated some of our authority, or we've abdicated, our authority has been abrogated, or we abdicate our authority. I want to ask you this, and I want to say this, Mayor. For the second time, I think that you, on behalf of the city, have disrespected the council. You have not consulted with the council, and I don't think you have gotten the consent of the council. Now, let me just put it straight out right here, because I think that I want to make sure that people understand. I am one of the lawyers who have filed a lawsuit against Dr. Richardson, Mr. Sentes. I've not filed one against the charter schools yet, Mr. Green. But, Mayor, you on behalf of the city in both of those cases, Morrell versus Sentes, and on our latest case, on the case of Sims versus Richardson, you, and I'm going to say it to you, I'm going to say this to you, to your legal advisor. I'm going to say something, I'm going to use a legal term. You, sua sponte, or you ex motu, made an appearance on behalf of the city in a legal proceeding without the consent or the consult of the city council. The first time you did it, we didn't say anything, and believe me, I think everybody, if you brought it to the city council, I would be one would recuse myself. And I think you would have the votes, I don't know. But why is it, I would like to ask you all, under what authority do you have or to enter into a lawsuit through amicus or any other way and bind the city because you are the mayor and you don't bind, you don't get the consent or the consult of the council? Maybe I'm wrong. I've read 618, I read enabling statute, and maybe I graduated from one of those schools which you'll say may be failing, and maybe I didn't go to school. I'm gonna say it again here in Alabama. But I've been around, I've been to 17 different countries, and I've been to 37 states I may be in. Everywhere I look, when there is an executive and a legislative, that the legislative and executive work together. I think you, Mayor, has disrespected the city council by entering, and I'll end this by this right here. Would you tell, and I wasn't gonna bring it up, but some people in my community asked me to bring it up. You have a legal staff here, but you didn't use the legal staff. And I would like to ask you, what is the monetary value, Mayor, that you used to have outside counsel file a brief? And I'm not downplaying the significance of the brief, but when I worked for the Attorney General's office, I could file 3 or 4 briefs in one day, and we did it every day. And so I'm just wondering, why would you think it's necessary that you can enter into a lawsuit without consulting or even advising the council? And second, why would you take money from the city to pay outside counsel when you have competent lawyers in the city? And when I say that, if I talk hard, I just wanted to know. I'm not saying you did anything wrong. I just think I want to know.
So what's the question?
The question is, how much money did you pay for outside counsel to do to make an to intervene in the Murillo case, and how much did you pay outside counsel to file a brief to the Supreme Court?
Well, first of all, I don't know the answer to the question. Secondly, I did rely on our city attorney. We did consult about being a part of this. How she chose to engage that really is something that she directed. We certainly will pay for outside counsel. If you'll remember, we were admitted to be a part of that. We did participate in the mediation. In this particular case, we did do an amicus brief. We were accepted. At the end of the day, I am the elected mayor of this city. We have no authority in education, but we have all the responsibility. The general public, a vast majority, have asked us, has asked me, has almost demanded me to be involved in helping fix education so that we don't have to answer the question to the economic development groups that come in and say, why don't you have a better education? Make the case for us coming to Montgomery.
I understand that, Mayor, but my question wasn't about that.
You've asked me the question, why do we have to make a case to the military that there are other alternatives in education other than going to public schools? The facts speak for themselves. You cannot argue with the facts.
I'm not arguing that, Mayor. You're not answering my question. I'm saying, point me to an authority that allows you, the mayor. Now, I don't disagree with your, with your position. I'm not talking about that. But point to me, and may I, Mr. Jenwright, because this is the carrying on to me, I want to inquire. I want you to tell me, either your legal advisor or anybody else, on what authority that you base the decision that you, sui sponte, on your own volition, can enter into any kind of legal transaction without consulting with the council or without consenting with the council. You are the mayor, but you didn't do it as, you did it as the mayor in the city of Montgomery. You don't have the authority, I don't think, to enter into a legal transaction without the council, because the council is the one who controls this purse string. And if you have that, please show this little ignorant man from down in Lowndes County that you have that authority. Please, and I won't question that anymore. Because I don't think me as a member of the council can go in and say, I'm talking on behalf of the city council, any more that you as the mayor can go and make. There are certain things you can do, and you have a lot of power as the executive. But I don't think you have the power to enter into a lawsuit and say, I'm entering on the behalf of the city of Montgomery. And I found it like this. I'll end it like this. I would love to have you in a foxhole with me, because you know what? I'll give you this. Mayor, you don't give up your power. And I'm not trying to be condescending to you. I respect that, because you fight for what you believe in. I just think we have abdicated our authority. And I think you answer my question. Thank you.
I'll accept the compliment. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any special committee reports? Okay. Item number 1. We have one person who wants to speak on item number 3, and I'll call on them at that time.
Item number 1, appeal of demolition of 923 Hutchinson Street.
We have agreed that that would be carried over for 2 weeks in the work session, and in the meantime, there would be a building permit secured for this particular issue and brought back and showed to us. And
Mr. President, just on that, just so we're real clear, in 2 weeks, he's going to come back with a plan, a permit pulled, having talked with Mr. Carr and whoever else, and if he does not have that, then what's still before us is either upholding the demolition or carrying it over. Is that correct? Am I understanding?
That's right.
Excuse me. I thought
We
I
said
thought we
this
were going to
again.
uphold it tonight, subject to him coming back with Mr. Carr and clearing up the items he has addressed in the last 90 days.
That was my understanding, and
That's
that
it.
basically it's not going to be on the agenda next week. We uphold the appeal tonight, and he's supposed to get everything straight with Carr. Assuming that he doesn't, then we expect to see this appeal again, and at that point we would deny with the assumption that he did not fulfill his obligation in the last 2 weeks. Is that correct?
That item is going to be carried over.
So we're supposed to appeal,
If we
uphold the appeal tonight?
uphold tonight, but then you don't, then you lose.
I think we discussed and just agreed to carry it over.
I think you carry it over to this way. You got
2
still got
weeks.
control.
And in those 2 weeks, he was going to get a building permit and all the other paperwork and come with a plan. And then we'll address it in 2 weeks.
Dismiss it.
I don't believe the language carry over was ever entered
What do
into
you,
the.
what do you want to do with it?
I don't think, you know, is Mr. Carr still here? I think he's still here. I don't think we talked about carrying it over.
We did.
However.
We'll uphold it,
Yeah,
subject
let's
to
just
him doing what
uphold
he's
it.
supposed to do. If you don't do
Yep.
what he's supposed to do, it's district.
Okay, uphold it and be done. That's
Uphold it.
off the agenda.
Subject to
I
nothing.
want to do what we talked about in the work session. Yes. What was your understanding as to what we arrived at, Mr. Carr, in the work session earlier this afternoon?
That the council's not going to take any action tonight. My recommendation is that if you want to uphold the demolition, uphold it tonight, as Mr. Balliner suggests, and then we can veto it at the next meeting. If it comes forth and does its due diligence, then you can repeal the demolition order.
I like that better than carrying it over, personally.
That's a good way to get it off the agenda.
But what did we agree to, may I ask, in
It's
the?
basically the same scenario.
Okay.
You're giving him 2 weeks to get it straightened out.
Just different way to get
It'd be the same scenario.
Same
that you do-
scenario.
Same scenario that you do for your non-payment of taxes. You do that situation, and then when they come in with the evidence at the next meeting, then you continue to operate.
If you, okay.
It is not.
You want to carry it over? What do you want to do?
Well, I'm a little confused now. It seems
Well, I
to me
think
we're arriving at things that we didn't talk about earlier. We didn't talk about upholding the demolition earlier either.
Well, I just say carry it over, then and he's got 2 weeks. We know that we were going to give him 2 weeks to get it straightened out, right?
Right.
And you carry it over 2 weeks, then you give him, then we get 2 weeks, we can make a judgment if he did it or not. And that's my opinion, is the way it needs to go. Let's do it. Carry overs.
We'll carry it over.
Carry it over 2 weeks. Item number 2.
Item 2, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning one lot
Hold on,
located.
before we move forward, we left him, if he's not here, he's under the impression that he doesn't have to come back, assuming he shows.
If he shows
Carr-
that, we'll be fine.
We told him at the work session that he does not have to come back, so if
If he does all this, he's fine.
so Carr is going to be the one that's going to let us know, but he
Right.
doesn't have to come back.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
But as long as we leave it as an official action to carry it over, he does have to come back.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, with Councilor for 5. We left him with a completely different impression.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would be fair for us to change
Well,
or make any amendment to whatever was proffered earlier after he has left the premises.
I'm saying we hold the appeal up, and then in 2 weeks, by the next Friday, if he haven't shown Mr. Carr what he needs, then at that point, the following Tuesday, it will be on the agenda. At that point, the assumption is that he didn't do what he's supposed to do.
Well, if you uphold it tonight, it's off the agenda.
But we can put it back on there in terms of.
You can put it back on, but
May 1st.
it would come back to Mr. Carr at that point if he.
May 1st. That'd be 3 weeks.
That's what.
Either way,
It's just carried over for 2 weeks.
you carry it over 2 weeks, you got you, it's same deal.
Okay, as long as we don't penalize him for not
It's
being
on the
there.
agenda in two
Right.
weeks.
Okay.
He didn't have to be there. If he's done his work, it doesn't matter. Okay. Item number 2, Tommy.
This item was heard by the Planning Commission, and they took no action, and the applicant appealed it. That's why it's before you. The intended use is for a daycare.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak on this item? Please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council. Need a motion, council? Mr. Green?
Move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand. You got you.
7. I need 1 and 7's vote. You abstaining?
I oppose. I was waiting for the rest of the.
Okay, we got
Just
7
because
yeses.
it's spot zoning, I thought William.
Yeah, I vote opposed.
Yeah, I thought we, okay. I
I'm
thought we were
opposing
gonna wait
because of
to,
spot zoning.
William was okay.
My bad.
William was okay.
I thought we were gonna hold this one over
re-ask.
until we talked to the people at the neighborhood association.
Oh, you made the motion?
Yeah, well, I track that.
Okay, withdraw the motion. Carry it over 2 weeks.
Yeah, we need to carry this over 2 weeks. It's in, Councilman,
you'll talk
Lee's
to him.
district, but we do need to talk to the neighborhood association, see if they have any concerns about it.
Okay.
Can they figure out whose neighborhood? Because they fight on whose neighborhood.
The line is,
Yeah, I don't mean fight.
it ain't fighting,
It's your,
but we both deal with that.
okay.
Item 3, ordinance authorizing land exchange agreement by and between the city of Montgomery and the United States Air Force.
All right, item number 3, council. I've got Miss Lisa Hill wants to speak on this item. Ms. Hill? You okay? Okay.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 4, resolution authorizing de-annexation of 2210 Ray Thornton Road.
Move to suspend rules.
Have a motion to suspend. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 5, resolution authorizing Mayor Strange to make application to HUD for substantial amendments under the Community Development Block Group and Home Investment Partnership Programs.
Need a motion to suspend rules?
Move to suspend the rules.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
can we have some discussion, please, sir?
Yeah,
Or do we need to suspend them first?
We suspend it
Well,
first, then
I'm
we
not
can
gonna-
discuss.
I'm not going to suspend the rules.
Okay, we'll have to carry this over then.
Can we have some discussion, Mr. President?
It's not discussable if you hadn't done if you don't suspend the rules.
So we can talk, we can't talk about an item just
It's
because
not
I don't want to
properly-
vote on it?
It's not properly before the council if you do.
It's not proper with council, cannot be talked.
We can talk about it, let's suspend the rules.
It'll come up next meeting.
Come up
Talk
next
then.
meeting, next meeting.
You can talk then, you'll have plenty of time to talk.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President.
Item 6, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as BJ Groceries, 5601 Old Cellar Road.
Representative B.J. Grocery, please.
Chris Hargett.
All right, Chris. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Thank you. Good luck with that business.
Item 7, application for a nonprofit tax exempt liquor license, doing business as Barrel Blues, 333 Mildred Street.
Representative Child Protect.
Susanna Wasserman.
Suzanne, okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. Proper for the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Motion to adopt.
Unanimous.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your event.
Thank you.
Item 8, application for a special retail liquor license by Event Concessions, doing business as Concert for Peace and Justice, 355 Coosa Street.
Representative for the Contract for Peace and Justice. Okay. You're the concessionaire.
I'm here to represent the concessionaire.
Okay, your name, please, for the record.
Nancy Hendricks.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council. Need a motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your event.
Thank you.
Item 9, application for special retail more than 30 days license, doing business as Evans Activity Center, 2952 Birmingham Highway.
Representative Evans Pavilion? Yes, sir. Your name for the record, sir?
Donald Evans.
All right, Mr. Evans. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, sir.
And I do want
Thank
to say, I thank you for doing business in District 4.
Thanks, sir. Yes, pledge.
All right.
Item 10, application for lounge retail liquor Class 2 package license, doing business as Red Zone Package Store, 3035 Woodley Road.
Chris Hargett.
Thank you, Mr. Hargett. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward.
Well, Mr.
Seeing
President,
none?
Mr. President.
It's back to you. Okay, Mr. Bell.
That's in District 6, and I did have a couple of calls, and I think those are calls that were not necessarily against the existing establishment. I think they thought it was a new establishment. So I have some people here in favor of it, so I wouldn't have any opposition to it. So
Okay, I need a motion to suspend the rules, please.
I hate to do it for alcohol, but I'm gonna do it this time. Yeah.
Motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is
Good luck with
adopted.
business, sir.
Item 11, application for lounge retail liquor Class 1 license, doing business as Sky Bar at 3627 Debbie Drive.
Sky Bar. Okay. Your name for the record, please.
Melinda Futrell.
Melinda. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council. Need a motion, Mr. Train?
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, ma'am.
And thank you for doing business in District 5.
Item 12, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Varsity Convenience Store,
It's you again.
1218 Carty Hill Road.
It must be Chris Hargett.
Chris Hargett.
Welcome
Pass
back, Mr. Hargett. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. I see none. Declare the public hearing's been held. Proper for the council. Mr. Larkin.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move for adoption.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with that business.
Thank you.
Item 13, resolution reappointing Larry Dixon to the Montgomery Airport Authority.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 14, resolution assessing the cost of abatement of unsafe structures on various lots.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules on the rest on this.
Okay, let's see which one. I'm getting ahead of myself here, okay.
Yeah.
Number 14 is the, Mr. Carr, you got some information for us tonight?
Yes, sir. The report on the complaints for the nuisances year to date is 4,370 complaints. Of those 4,370, the violations are 3,265. We're asking for your approval tonight for another 339 abatements. On the screen there, you'll see the liens that were filed for the non-compliant properties, which was abated by city contractors. Total number of 30 of those there. And that's a list of the names, addresses, and the fees associated with them for the council date that you approved on March the 6th, 2018. And Mike, if you'll scroll down, you'll see a header at the top, which indicates that these are the environmental liens filed.
You got 5 or 6 that show tax sale. When that's a tax sale, does the charge go to the property, and whatever governmental agency has control of that property, they would have that onto the parcel of land?
That is correct. The tax, the lien runs with the land, and it is also attached to the,
So in
to
the
the
last
tax.
2 weeks, we've got 300 events.
Excuse me, sir?
In the last 2 weeks, you've got 300 that you've inspected? Is that right? You said
Yes, sir.
300 and some odd?
There's 339 that we're asking for your approval tonight. No, sir, we've had over 700 complaints that we've handled in the last 2 weeks. So the complaint number has escalated up over 700 in the last 2 weeks. Of those 700 complaints, 339 of them is what you're asking for approval tonight.
Very good. I have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt. If I give
Motion
it
to adopt.
Okay. All in
Unanimous.
favor, raise your hand.
Resolution is adopted. Item 15, resolution declaring public nuisances, authorizing abatement and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Have a motion to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Okay, we have one other. You have a resolution, Mr. Green?
We have one other item. I think I passed it out. Appointing Tammy on the Montgomery Airport Authority.
Resolution reappointing Tammy Fleming to the Montgomery Airport Authority.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Okay. Madam Clerk, anything else?
Yes, sir. I have put before you allocations for your approval that the mayor has authorized. District 1, $250 to Goodwin Middle School, $250 to Nat King Cole Society, $300 to One Place Justice Center. For District 7, $1,000 to Cloverdale Idlewild Neighborhood Association.
Okay. Have any more? Need a motion to adopt these?
Motion to adopt.
I was just going to move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay. On our public communication roster of non-agenda items,